Hello everyone. Welcome to this page. So today I have an amazing video for you, and it's basically about the topic of ending the quote-unquote natural versus enhanced beauty argument or beauty debate. This is a topic that I can talk a lot about, but I've condensed several of my main points for this video. Okay, so point number one, my first main point. Define natural, right? Because a lot of people like to use the term natural really when it's just to kind of shame people or exclude people who they think may have had some type of bodily enhancements or surgical enhancements. So our first bullet point under defining natural is point number one, we have makeup. By definition, if we are to define natural as in no additional human-made or quote-unquote synthetic products that we're adding to the face and body, then makeup would not count as natural, right? Bullet number two, hair extensions, right? If you're a person of African ancestry of some kind, or have curly hair, most women and femmes, right, have worn weaves, some type of wigs, or some type of hair extensions, right? So by definition, if we're going to define natural as nothing human made, right, then that's not natural, okay? Point number three, lashes, right? This is another point, especially in the African American community. So here, excuse me, I'm in the East Coast in the New York area, and especially with the younger crowd of Black folks, especially if they're more monoculturally Black, even some non-Black folks who are in Black adjacent communities, a lot of them wear lashes, right? That, again, wouldn't count as being natural. Other bullet point, nails, right? Most women get their nails done or do it themselves. That technically is not natural. Let's see. My next bullet point, teeth whitening or brushing your teeth, right? A lot of us do that. And technically, that's not natural either. Contacts. If you wear contacts, those again are not natural. And I just have these points because I want to really illustrate the point home that people only bring up the quote-unquote natural or posit the two against each other as if it's some type of competition, which it's not, right? Because beauty is not a monolith. To shame women who have had some type of enhancements, right? It's just a triangulation tactic. So that's why I'm kind of itemizing these points, because I really want y'all to understand this and get y'all through y'all's heads, okay? Hair removal, right? And this also goes into any time. Laser hair removal, waxing, electrolysis, them hair removal creams. None of those things technically are going to be considered quote unquote natural, right? So I just think that's important to keep in mind and to, again, drive this point home. That follows under my next bullet point under defining natural is that people pick and choose. Essentially, people pick and choose the things. I believe I mentioned this earlier. People pick and choose the things that that either they don't do, that they don't have, or that they don't have the access or privilege of access to then again posit that and triangulate against women who may have access to that quote-unquote privilege, right? And this goes into my second point, at people get mad at what they don't have, Okay? So this is a major point. I believe Exoticals United actually. She's talked about this in different, some of her different videos, which is also a very clear point in regards to most people, when people could talk about like quote unquote privilege or social status, particularly in the pretty privilege conversation or colorism, texturism, featureism conversations, right? People get mad at the privileges that they don't have, right? The people who don't have those privileges get mad at the people who do. The people who have 4C hair get mad at the people who have looser curl textures, right? The people who, it's, you can kind of like go on and on, right? Sometimes like you hear short people like say, oh, they wish they could be taller. It's because they're not tall, right? They don't have access to that. So that's that tends to be the ones that they fixate on. Okay, so eye color is also another thing too, right? People also tend to want the eye color that they don't have or maybe weren't necessarily born with. And then my last point under people get mad at what they don't have is also body shape. Now this is a huge one, especially in the I guess we call it a featureism conversation because most people, right? If you're, for example, let's speak on what I can speak to in my life. I'm a lighter skinned girl, right? My complexion is like a sandy complexion. I'm 5'11". My body shape is kind of like an hourglass figure, right? I have wide hips and a narrow waist. And as if you see the profile picture, I got a booty. So, people, if you're a girl with a booty or, if you have an hourglass figure, a lot of people will just say like, oh, well, she had this done or she had that done or whatever. And it's like, yeah, but you're only saying that because she has a poor social strategy of trying to talk shit about other women who have features that she doesn't have, right? She's only mad because she wants a big booty and she doesn't have one. So she wants to talk shit about girls with big booties and then triangulate them and call them, all types of, riffraff. And it's like, girl, just say you want it. Like, it's really that simple. You don't gotta be like, okay, if you want one, like you can get it if you want it, but they'd rather hate on people who have invested in themselves and leveled up because they can't match to your level, right? So that's my final point under people get mad at what they don't have. And then I have my point number 3 for this video is I have some stats from the American Society for Plastic Surgery. So I have some ASPS stats here. First point is that only 22% of Americans have had some type of surgery, right? Plastic and reconstructive surgery, right? Of that 22%, only 11% of those were classified under buttock augmentations, right? So if you do the math, okay, if you divide, do some simple basic division, right? Less than 5% of American women have had some type of buttock augmentation, right? So if you do the math, it's a little over 4%, basically under 5%. So when you see people on social media and say like silly things like, oh, this is a trend or that is a trend or all these people are doing this or, all these girls are out here getting surgery. That's not true. That's statistically false. That is factually incorrect. Less than 5% of American people have had some type of buttock augmentation. So I just say that to drive that home because people make it sound as if things are more common, especially on social media, than they really are, or that like most girls are doing, A, B, C, X, Y, and Z, and that's not the case. Okay? So just remember that. Research things, Google, y'all have the internet, use your brains, do it, okay? Thank you. I'm just trying to drive that point home. Now, my fourth point goes to sensationalism, and that kind of ties in with my third point under the American Society of Plastic Surgery stats, because once again, it's like, just because, you know, people say things or insinuate things on social media, that's not true. If you go out in the real world, you realize that, you know, most people don't have an hourglass figure. Most people do not look like models. And this is not to say this is not to throw shade, right? Most people are regular looking, and that's not a diss. It's just that, you know, most of them are. So, you know, it's not a bad thing. It's just that, right? If you if you're very attractive or you're a very beautiful woman, right? People are going to notice you, as hence in the word attractive, because, you know, you attract attention, right? So there's also that. Point number 5, okay? Last and final point for this video. Nobody's quote unquote natural in 2025. Natural does not exist in 2025, okay? If you brush your teeth, by that definition, that's not natural. So I don't want to hear anybody talking any shit or saying any bullshit about this person's not natural, this person's wearing a waist trainer, this person had a, you know, this surgery, blah, 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 blah. Zooming in on people's IG pictures, trying to, you know, doing all this and that. Stop. Okay? If you get your nails done, by definition, that's not natural. There are men out here who, you know, get rhinoplasties and hair transplants now. It's amazing the things that are, you know, especially in the field of medicine, that are possible in this day and age because of advancements in medical science. So that's why I just bring this up as my final point in this video to really drive this home and wrap this up, is that I don't want to hear nobody bitching and moaning about this person's natural, this person's not natural. Nobody cares, okay? And if you care because you wish that you had what she had. That's why. But jealousy is one of those emotions that bitches don't admit, okay? That's the problem. They won't admit to it. They just act ratchet and say this wild shit, and it's like, hit dogs will holler. All right. So, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you liked one of my first videos, and feel free to leave a comment. All right. See y'all next time.